yourself a sweet tea, pull up a lawn chair, and turn the page with us. You're listening to Right On Mississippi, a podcast taking you inside the minds of America's treasured wordsmiths. I'm Ellen Rogers, and Right On Mississippi is produced in partnership with Mississippi Public Broadcasting for the Mississippi Book Festival and the South's Literary Lawn Party. So, Helen, we are so glad you are here with us. I think you are one of the funniest people on the planet. I stalk you on every way that I possibly can. My love for you began with American Housewife, and Southern Lady Code is one of the best things I've ever read in my life, so I cannot wait to talk to you about this. I love it. I just think it's great.
I'm so happy to be here.
Oh,
my
goodness.
To have you. Thank you so much for having me.
So let's just get down to it.
Let's
Why
do it.
are you the way you are? Because it is delightful, and we want to talk about it.
Why am I the way that I am? I think the first thing that comes to mind is I fail a lot, and that's okay. You know, I had
character building.
It's character building.
Mm-hmm.
It's a life lesson. I had a book come out 20 years ago, and that was the last time I was at Lemuria bookstore. It was 20 years ago for Eating the Cheshire Cat, which I wrote straight out of grad school. And I went on a book tour, went to Lemuria, went into the fancy, side book room, and I got Ann Patchett's second book, The Magician's Assistant, signed.
Love that book.
And then I wrote another book, and nobody published it. And then I wrote another book, and nobody published that. And then I wrote a third book, and nobody published that either. And then I quit writing, and nobody cares. And so I didn't write for probably 3 years. And I would meet people at different events. And the question was, what do you do? And I didn't say writer anymore because that just wasn't the case. I said the truth. I'm a housewife. And if there was a second question, there usually wasn't a second question. The question was, what do you do all day?
A lot.
Whatever I damn well want to.
Exactly. Freedom.
And, in those failing 15 years of writing, because growing up, that's all I wanted to be was a writer. And it went totally according to plan, at the beginning. And through all that failure, I came to embrace and get to know myself outside of the writing life. And when you fail so much, you're just not afraid of failing anymore. So I'm not afraid of throwing a party, and hiding Scrabble tiles all over the house for you to find. I'm not afraid of walking into a poker tournament where I'm one of like 6 women in a room of thousands. And I'm not afraid to keep trying. And that's what I did with American Housewife. I started this anonymous Twitter account, unbeknownst to my husband, unbeknownst to my writing group of 24 years, the writers Ann Napolitano and Hannah Tinty.
Oh.
And once I gained a following with the What I Do All Day Twitter account, I saw patterns developing in what I was tweeting. And so I wrote a story about a has-been washed-up writer who goes on a reality dumpster diving with the stars show.
So great.
Along with John Lithgow and Mario Batali. And I sent that off, and it got published by a literary magazine. And then I wrote a story about a book club, because I'm in a book club.
Yeah.
And what if we recruited a new member who was younger than all of us for more sinister reasons than reading? And then I sort of fell ass backwards into American Housewife. Nobody was watching. So I am the way I am because I fail.
Well, I feel like we Southern ladies are real tough cookies, and we do fail, and we just get right back up and just keep on going. And I think that is exactly what you just described to us, and that's amazing.
Thank you.
I think that's more inspiring than always winning and getting what you want, quite honestly.
Nobody wants to read about that.
Nobody cares about that. Is not interesting.
No.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about, you mentioned the poker.
I have to just say one thing about that. It came to mind. I think about watching Miss America because I love to watch Miss America.
Yeah.
And when the singers sing, I was raised that when they're doing their opera arias, you look in their mouth and count all the silver fillings.
Oh.
So that's the most...
That is amazing.
That's what's fun about a story. You want to find, the holes.
I was about to say the holes. That's so great. But I think do you have so many, I mean, I just identify with you on so many things, but I don't with the poker thing. I want to talk to you about that.
Let's talk
that's
about it.
That's amazing. I only know how to play boo-ray because that's about as good as I
don't know
can
what
do.
that is.
You know, I feel like it's like,
is it cards?
It's like redneck poker.
Oh, what does that mean?
It's
16 cards in the deck and they're all kings.
way less rules than poker. I mean, I just feel like everybody's like, oh, it's so easy once you know how to do it. But like, you're on the national poker circuit. So I'm like, how did that happen?
It is an easy game. It really is an easy game. What's not easy is, I think, the stamina and the nerve. And you really have to accept the fact that you are going to lose.
Yeah.
Especially on the tournament circuit where if you're cashing 10% of the time, that's a really good record. So it came about because my father's a poker player.
Oh.
Granddaddy was a poker player. And they taught me to play at 6 years old, sitting at the kitchen table with my grandmother heating up Ore-Ida French fries in the convection oven.
Love an Ore-Ida French fry.
Yes, a crinkle. I like a crinkle.
A crinkle.
With a little Lowry seasoning salt.
Exactly.
Lowry's makes everything better.
It does, indeed.
This episode is sponsored by Lowry's.
And Ore-Ida.
And Ore-Ida. When I was 21, I met my father in Vegas. We have met every year, twice a year to play cards. And about 10 years ago, I started playing tournaments and just connected to tournaments more than a cash game. Because a cash game, you can sit at the table as long as you want, as long as you keep pulling out money. But a tournament, you enter a room with 10 people or 8,000 people, and you play down to one. And
oh, my word.
It is a place outside of writing, even more so than writing, where I feel my most natural self.
Okay.
Which is a killer.
That's right. Well, let's go back to your formative years. So we know that you started playing poker as a child, so that's just kind of ingrained in you.
I feel like I'm in a second pubescence with perimenopause right now.
That's okay. Being a woman is a journey, and we just go up and down and up and down. There's so many phases.
Yes.
What kind of reader were you when you were a child? You said you always wanted to be a writer. So what inspired that?
I didn't always want to be a writer. In elementary and middle school, I wanted to be a psychologist, part-time hand model.
Oh, God.
You know, someone cracks the eggs and their beautiful red nails.
Indeed.
And someone listens to your stories all day that you'll only tell a doctor. I mean, that's a pretty great gig. But I was a voracious reader. As far back as I can remember, my summers were spent in the libraries. My mother would let me read anything I wanted as long as it was in a book and I could check it out from the library. You know, she would always say, as long as you're reading, which means I hate what you're reading, but it's your reading. And growing up in Tuscaloosa, you know, a lot of books were banned. So my mother got me Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Oh, yes.
You know,
it's a necessary book.
It's a necessary book. And, I was a voracious reader because, you know, if you have a book, you're never alone.
Yeah, it's true. I'm never bored.
You're never bored. I was delayed 2 hours coming here from Atlanta, and I just started our new book club book.
Is it the classic
classic trashy book club book, and this month's pick for May is Rebecca
by Daphne
it
so much.
du Maurier. And I've never read it. I've seen the movie a million times, but I've never read it. So I was perfectly happy to sit by the window and read
you are
Rebecca.
going to love it.
Well, it's following The Godfather, so
that's a hard follow.
It's a hard follow. And The Godfather is pretty good.
Well, it's actually, I mean, the first Godfather movie is one of my most favorite movies ever.
Really?
Oh, I love it.
I've seen it once, and I knew that horse's head in the bed was coming, and that's why I didn't read it forever and ever. And then I realized, I can just flip the pages. So I flipped over the horse's head.
Yeah, I can deal with cruelty to humans a lot of the time, but animals, I just cannot get down with.
This is what I ask you when you give me a book. Does the dog die? And Mary Miller, who is a Mississippi writer who I adore, I loved her short story collection, Almost Happy Hour. And she sent me her new book, Biloxi, which is coming out, I think, next month.
Started it the other night.
Fantastic. But there is a dog on the cover. And I said to her, Mary, I would love to read this, but I'm not going to read it if this dog dies. And she says, no, the dog doesn't die.
Do you know about the website, Does the Dog Die?
No.
Oh, well.
I need to know about this.
It's called Does the Dog Die? And it's like books and movies.
And
it'll tell you.
I can't stand it. I can name the books that I hate because the dog dies. And I sent a blurb to her editor, and I said, first of all, the dog doesn't die. And then I said nice things about the book. And the editor, I don't know, I haven't seen the final copy, so I don't know what my blurb turned out to be, how she edited it. But the editor says, no, we want that to be a surprise for the reader. And I said, no, the reader doesn't want that surprise.
Yeah.
But it is a terrific book, and the dog does not die.
I started the other night, and I can tell that I'm going to love it. I think she's just fantastic.
She really is.
And I don't know who is designing the covers of her books,
They're great.
but it is good.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're great. Yeah.
So, but I will say the covers of your books are also fantastic.
Thank you.
I just love it. But I got my advanced reader copy of Southern Lady Code, and I just looked at it because this woman on the front of it, I'm just like, well, she's perfection.
But she has a little something between her teeth.
She does have a little something between her teeth, but she's still perfect. Her hair is like plump. Her red lipstick is amazing. It's just, this book is a delight.
Thank you.
So let's talk about how the Southern Lady Code, this book came to being. And what I'm really fishing for is the Southern Lady Code essay from American Housewife.
Yeah, so American Housewife, there's a short story in there that's 2 pages long, and it's called Southern Lady Code. And on the Twitter account, too, I'm constantly tweeting the code because I speak and people say, what do you mean by that? So just the other day, I tweeted, she means well. Which is Southern Lady Code for control freak. Some lady who comes into your apartment and straightens all your picture frames.
That's my mother.
Yeah,
God love her.
She means well.
She does mean well.
Or we've met, which means I remember you because you were horrible to me, but you don't remember me because you're horrible to everyone. And so I just kept doing it. And when I started writing these essays, I realized that Southern Lady Code kept working its way into all the pieces. There's a little bit of code in every single essay. But moreover, my sort of life code and motto is a Southern Lady Code. And that is what I took to heart when writing this book, which is be funny, be honest, be kind. As our mothers told us, don't be ugly. Not, which means, doesn't mean, shave your unibrow. Although you should shave your unibrow.
You should.
It means don't be rude. Don't be unkind. Don't be ugly. So that was the motto with the book, because with the essays, every essay is a love letter. They're love letters to my husband. They're love letters to my friends, to my parents, and to myself.
You love your husband. That is very
apparent.
Isn't
he darling?
He is darling.
He's
a
darling.
good man.
He is a good man.
Yeah.
Yes. He's Greek. First generation Greek.
That is
He's
right.
imported.
That's right.
Darling.
Okay. How do people in the South that are not in the South respond to the Southern Lady Code?
So far, they really like it. So far, they really like it. I think a lot of women, and I'm going to just say women because I write for women. I'm thrilled if a heterosexual man reads me, but I am not writing for heterosexual men. I'm writing for women and gay men. And so when I say Southern Lady Code, I think a lot of women often struggle with being direct or saying something that they don't want to say. And Southern Lady Code is not being passive aggressive. It's saying what you need to say, but in a nice way. So if I were to say to you, don't go to that person's apartment, he's handsy. What do you think I mean by that?
He's going to make a move on you. You're not going to like it.
That's exactly right. And that's even more code, which means it's all code for sexual predator.
It is.
Yeah. But women don't want to say, or are uncomfortable saying, he's a sexual predator.
Yeah.
So we say, he's charming, he's handsy, be careful. And if you're listening, you'll get the point.
He doesn't respond to no.
He doesn't. See? That's a good one. That's a good one. That's right. That's a really, really good one. I'm going to put that in my back pocket.
Please. I would be so
I'm gonna tweet
honored.
that.
I would be
tweet
so
that.
honored.
So I think that's appreciated because sometimes you just won't say anything at all.
Yeah.
And so it's better to say something than nothing.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm the type of woman that always feels like they need to say something.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do. My husband always is with me when I step in. I have stepped into many situations where I see a woman, a younger woman, in an unpleasant situation, being towered over on the subway, or she's drunk and staggering into a cab, and I step in and say, let me, can I help you? And my husband is just like, I appreciate this, Helen, but if this person who's bothering her turns on us, I'm going to be the one that has to
defend everyone.
And I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Bless his heart. I know. And I just that phrase is just in my DNA.
Yes.
I cannot help but say it.
Yes. You blessed me when I came in, and I appreciated it.
Oh, I did?
Yes, you did. I appreciated it. I took 2 flights, and my flight was delayed. Bless your heart. And it means sincerely.
Bless your
care
heart
for you.
Until it's not.
Until it's not.
Until you say it in that certain way where you're like, ugh.
Oh, your husband traveled for business every weekend for 40 years, and you're just finding out he had a second family? Bless your heart.
Exactly. Oh, that's a big bless your heart.
Yes.
Well, I just want to say that your Southern Lady Code essay is photographed on my phone, and it is like my party trick now. I have read it aloud more times than I care to count.
Oh, I love it. It makes me so happy.
Are always in stitches because it is truly hysterical and it is so accurate. One of my closest friends is from South Florida, which essentially means that she's a Yankee.
That's correct.
And, she was like, this explains so much to me. She's like, all the things that you say, I now really know what they mean. I'm like, yeah, they all just mean a little something extra. But the thing one of my favorites is, you don't have to get me anything.
That's right. That means you have terrible taste.
Yes, it's so true. I mean, I mean that.
Yes.
You don't have to get me anything.
Yes, because I will get rid of it. I will. I condo. I get rid of stuff. I'm not that sentimental, and it will go. I'll write you a nice thank you note, and then I'll send that candy dish to the Goodwill.
Oh. So let's talk about Marie Kondo. You have an essay in the Southern Lady Code, how to make a marriage magically tidy.
Yes.
And I'm going to bless you, and God bless you for adhering to that. You sound like you've really committed to being tidy. And I am a hoarder.
No. You're an archivist.
Yes. That was another one. I had forgotten about that. I was like, I need to remember that. I'm currently packing right now, and I'm like, why do I have all this stuff? I want to burn it to the ground, except for the books, which is the majority of it.
You got to let it go. I hoard and release. I buy books all through the year, but I also use the library, because that's a hoarder's best friend is the library, because you have to turn that stuff back in. But I hoard books for a year, and then if I haven't read them by the end of the year, or if I have read them, then off they go to the library. I have 2 bookshelves. I have 3 bookshelves, and they're small bookshelves.
Yeah. And
once the books start to overflow from the bookshelves, then they go out of the house. I live in an apartment, so I don't have that much room.
Yeah, New York, the space is at a premium.
Yes.
A premium.
Yes.
But what about signed first editions? Is that a thing?
I let them go. Yeah, that was a last step. I would keep. I know everybody is aghast in this room.
I am just so impressed with you.
But it's true. Yeah, you will find books signed to Helen or Helen Ellis, and some people say they rip that page out, but I don't. And it doesn't mean anything, because now I'm at the age where I am a patron of the arts. And a patron of the arts means I go to your reading. I buy your book. Mm-hmm. I sometimes have it signed, but now I just buy a bunch of books and I don't necessarily have them signed. And you get the profits, your $3.45 that you're earning from your hardback. Oh. And then I release those books to the library.
Yeah, you release them back out into the wild.
Yes.
I think that's great.
Yes.
Well, we are very lucky to have you representing us in New York City, because we are a real novelty up there.
We are.
And you haven't lost your accent. It is perfect. And
it's a very inexpensive accessory.
It is.
It goes with everything.
One of my dear friends moved up there a few years ago, and she got rid of her Southern accent. I'm
No.
like, girl, that is your stick.
I will not Marie Kondo my accent.
No. But my best friend lives up there, and she got married a couple years ago, and she wanted me to read at her wedding. And when I did, everybody's head turned to the side in the crowd. And afterwards, everybody's like, "We love how you talk."
That's right.
They love how you talk,
They
Helen.
love how I talk. Yeah.
It is so
do I.
charming. When I hear they just played a recording of me, and I said, "Well, I'm as country as a butterbean."
No. I
But
love
that's
your
okay.
accent.
That's okay. I'm from the Mississippi Delta, and it is a whole different animal.
It is. I think that listeners can tell the difference.
Yeah, I mean,
we do not sound the same. But to a New Yorker, we would sound exactly the same.
We all sound the same.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You're from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I was going to say Roll Tide or War Eagle.
Roll Tide.
Okay, good. I was just going to make sure. You never can tell. One of my dear friends, he's from Alabama, and after everything that's good, he says Roll Tide.
That's right. It's like aloha.
And now I have started to do it.
Yes, or amen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is like an amen.
When my husband comes down south, and so I play cards twice a year in Biloxi, Mississippi at the Beau Rivage with my father.
Naturally.
And my husband has come once or twice, and we're always there in January, and usually Alabama's going to be there for the championship, on the televisions. And by televisions, I mean huge movie screens all over the casino.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone will be walking around with their Alabama gear. And it goes so far beyond like a T-shirt. There are fancy button-downs with the elephant. There are houndstooth dresses. And everybody passes everybody if they've got any kind of paraphernalia on and says to strangers, "Roll Tide, Roll Tide." And my husband is just saying, "Why is everyone talking to me?"
So where is he from?
He was born in New York City. His parents are from Greece, so he's first generation Greek American. But he really is a real New Yorker.
And you married a Yankee.
I married a Yankee. And I married a real New Yorker because he is coming to meet me on the tour in Georgia this weekend. My parents are driving over. We have family in Georgia. I have a lot of high school friends in Georgia. And my husband is flying down. And as I was booking the ticket for him a couple of months ago, he said, "Wasn't I just in Georgia 20 years ago?"
20 years ago. Yes. Wow. That was just the other day.
It was just the other day. He does not leave the city. He is a real New Yorker.
Well, there's just so much to do in the city.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
just like, why would I leave?
Yeah, everything is happening here.
You could put him on a highway or in any city, and he thinks Jackson, Mississippi looks just like Columbus, Ohio. He cannot distinguish any of it.
And I think that is probably just a New Yorker trait.
It is.
And that's okay.
It is.
We like them.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned your parents, and I wanted to talk, who sound hysterical and like total sickos, and I love them.
Yes.
I love them, and I've never met them.
Yes.
The party foul essay, please
Do you want me to give it away?
I don't know.
I'm going to tell you. I won't give it
riot.
away, but I'll tell you this. I was 13 years old, and my birthday is right before Halloween. So we have this birthday party in the middle of the woods in a sort of roundhouse. And this is 1983. So people's parents just dropped them off in the middle of the woods. There are no chaperones other than my parents. And something went down in the woods that if it happened today, it would have been videotaped on everybody's phone.
Oh, for sure.
It would have gone viral. My father would have been sued
Tarred
by every parent at that party. He would be in jail. And but it was 1983, so some things are just life lessons.
I mean, and what a thrill.
Well, everybody's still talking about it.
Seriously. And I think about kids today, they're not going to have experiences like that because then their parents will be in a real trouble with a legal situation.
Yes, well, everybody's just, sitting around with their heads in their phones. And it's boring.
Everybody's wound real tight.
They're wound real tight. I like that.
Yeah. So your Instagram just brings me joy nearly every single day.
I don't do the Facebook, but I love Instagram.
Instagram is fantastic.
Yeah, because it really is just happy. It's really pretty much just happy things.
It's way more positive.
Yeah. Although I will never on Instagram scroll through the Discover area, because I did it a month ago, and somebody had put Momo. You know who Momo is? Momo is some sort of crazy, I don't know. I looked at it for 1 second. I've been avoiding it. This, anime character crazy thing? I don't know.
It was something created in Japan. That's all I know.
That's exactly right. And I saw what I think was it for a second, and I never want to see that again. So my scrolling days are over, and that's the worst thing I saw on Instagram. Usually it's just, salads.
Yeah.
Salads and sunsets.
That's
Instagram.
Nice.
It's very nice.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about your Steel Magnolias quote battle.
Yes.
Which I feel like Steel Magnolias
you want to get into it?
Is a constitutional right.
Yes.
I mean, it might be the most important film of our time.
There's no such thing as natural beauty.
I agree. Do not argue with Dolly, because Dolly knows.
Yes.
But I made my friend watch it, who was from Mississippi, and she had never seen it.
You just rendered me speechless. I think I had a little stroke.
Oh, I mean, I was just like, well, sit down.
Sit down.
And you're buying it, and we're watching it right now.
But I will tell you, when I rewatch it, I only watch it to when she cuts her hair, because I don't want to see.
I cry every time.
I don't want to see the funeral. I don't want to hear about the football hair. I don't want to see the veins. I don't want to see any of that. I go to when she cuts her hair at the Christmas party. That's as far as I make it.
Oh, my gosh. I'm trying to think what is your favorite quote?
There's no such thing as that. No, this is my favorite quote. Things couldn't get any worse. Of course they can.
Yeah, of course they can. I saw Drum in the Piggly Wiggly the other day, and I smiled at the son of a bitch, for I couldn't help myself.
He's a real gentleman. I bet he takes the dishes out of the sink before he pees in it.
Weezer Boudreaux is my higher power. I mean, is there anything? We're getting close to the end. I hate to cut Steel Magnolias short, because it's really the only thing I care about on a day-to-day basis. Is there anything else on the horizon as far as your writing? We need more of you forever.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm thinking about it. I'm really someone who, after the road that's taken me here, I really appreciate the moments. So I'm really having fun just being with you and talking about this book and reading from this book. But I'm thinking that I wouldn't mind writing another true book of stories.
Well, I'm so glad that you came back to writing, because your voice is... I don't feel like there was a voice like yours. And I actually met you 2 years ago at the book festival.
I know you did.
Oh, you do? You remember me?
Yes, I do.
Oh, that makes me so happy. And I just you were the person that I talked about the whole time. I was she was so kind and just bubbly and nice, and I've just been such an admirer of yours ever since. I made my dad read American Housewife.
Oh my God.
He loves it. He's part of your demographic. Woo. And when I found out about Southern Lady Code coming out, I was like positively giddy. And I no longer worked at Lemuria, and I hunted an advanced reader copy, because it was like that was my constitutional right, was to have that advanced reader copy. And anybody I introduce to you, they just think that you are just the greatest thing. And I do. I think you are a treasure. You are from Alabama. I mean, and that's okay. We like Alabama. No, I'm just
My
picking.
mother is from Yazoo City, Mississippi.
I'm from the Delta.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have a free pass around
you
here.
You do. So you're one of us.
Yes.
We're gonna claim you. We're just so excited about you coming to the book festival this year.
Let me tell you, the Mississippi Book Festival is probably one of the best festivals out there. It's incredibly well run, and I enjoy a fan. They give us fans, as
it is hotter than
yes,
hell.
Eudora Welty fans for a Eudora Welty fan. And
thank you, Helen, for joining us today. You can follow her on Instagram under her handle American Housewife. Right On Mississippi is produced in partnership with Mississippi Public Broadcasting for the Mississippi Book Festival, the South Literary Lawn Party. Thank you, Helen.
I love it. Thank you.